Chapter 3. The Ones Who Don't Come Back. The orb pulsed like a heartbeat in Donovan's palm. It was hot, but it radiated something, a hum beneath his skin, a quiet throb in the back of his mind. With each pulse, more memories trickled into focus, not his own, but real. People, he murmured, staring into the faintly glowing core. I saw people in tanks, suspended. Sierra nodded. Me too. And tunnels, long ones, with lights that weren't lights. Donavan closed his fingers around the orb. We have to find where they're keeping them, the real winners. No, she said. We have to find the gate. Donavan looked at her sharply. The what? She leaned against the wall, breath shallow. There's a room beneath the compound. I didn't get far, but I saw walls that bent, not curved, bent, like a bad dream. There's a pulse, like the orb, but bigger. I think it's a gateway, or maybe an engine. Either way, it's alien. He swore under his breath. How the hell are we supposed to stop any of this? We don't, Sierra said. Not yet. We learn. We get proof. We escape. Escape? He laughed, dry and sharp. We're in a military compound, surrounded by people who already aren't people anymore. She smiled grimly. Then we better hurry. The next morning, the group was thinner. A nameplate sat untouched at breakfast. Natalie, Oregon. Where is she? Donavan whispered, scanning the room. Sierra sat beside him, equally tense. She was coughing last night, Sierra said. They took her for recalibration. She hasn't come back? Sierra shook her head. Donovan's appetite vanished. They weren't just being manipulated anymore. They were being harvested. That night, they enacted Phase 2. During a group therapy session, Donavan asked Langley a series of disruptive questions. Nothing wild, just enough to frustrate the carefully curated calm. As tensions escalated, Sierra slipped away unnoticed, the orb wrapped tightly in gauze inside her hoodie. This time, Donavan didn't know where she was going. She returned an hour later, just before lights out, her face pale as chalk. There's a sublevel, she whispered in the dark, below the staff quarters. You have to access it through a coded panel in the infirmary wall. He sat up. How'd you get in? I didn't, but I saw someone who did. Donovan's blood chilled. A winner? No, a guard. But he wasn't wearing shoes. What? He didn't walk, right? I followed him from the shadows. He used his hand to scan the wall, but the wall rippled. Not like glass, like flesh. Donovan's skin crawled. I think the humans aren't the only ones working here, she said. And I think the ones who go below. She didn't finish. She didn't have to. 2 more were missing by the next day. No announcement, no explanation. Their nameplates were quietly removed. Donavan and Sierra sat silently at breakfast, surrounded by cheerful, unnervingly calm winners. Donavan sat across from them, smiling faintly. You two don't look very enthusiastic, he said, voice light. We're just tired, Sierra replied evenly. He tilted his head. That's common. Resistance drains the mind. Donovan's eyes narrowed. Resistance? To change, Dylan said. You'll see. It's easier when you let go. With that, he stood and walked away. Okay, Donavan said. He's definitely one of them. Or worse, Sierra murmured. A volunteer. That night, they made their move. Sierra had memorized the guard's path and the access point. Timing would be everything. Donavan approached the infirmary first, faking a limp complaining of pain behind his eyes. The nurse scanned him, nodded, and handed him a pill. He pretended to swallow it. "Stay in the waiting bay," she said. "Doctor will be with you shortly." As soon as she left, he moved, fast. Sierra appeared down the hall, silent as shadow. Together, they slipped through the back, into the off-limits medical corridor. "Here," she whispered. The wall looked solid, steel and white paneling. But when she pressed the orb to a specific scene, the panel shimmered, flickering like static, and then melted inward. Beyond it, a spiral staircase twisted downward into darkness. "Ready?" she asked. Donavan nodded, heart pounding. They descended. The air shifted as they moved lower. It was denser, warmer. The hum in the orb intensified, vibrating against their bones. Eventually, the walls changed, metal to stone, stone to something else, something slick, organic. "Is this even part of the compound?" Donavan asked. Sierra didn't answer. They emerged into a chamber bathed in a pale green light. Tubes ran along the walls, tubes filled with liquid. Inside each one floated a person. Donavan staggered back. Oh my God. Men and women suspended in silence, their faces frozen mid-expression. Some looked peaceful, others looked terrified. "That's Natalie," Sierra whispered, pointing to one of the tanks, "and that's Hugo from Nevada." Donavan moved closer. The tanks weren't machines. They were grown, living tissue wrapped around the glass, pulsing faintly with life. "These aren't stasis pods," he said. "They're incubators." "For what?" Donavan didn't answer, because he didn't know. A hiss behind them. They turned. Too late. A figure stood in the entrance, silhouetted, motionless, not a guard, not quite human. Dylan. Except his eyes glowed faintly green. His face rippled like a mask flexing over something else. "You weren't cleared to be here," he said, voice distorted. Sierra backed up. "You're not Dylan." "No," the thing said. "Dylan was agreeable, compatible." Donovan's stomach dropped. "You took him." "We merged," it said. "As will you, when the time comes." Sierra held up the orb. The creature hissed. "That belongs to us." "Then come and get it," she said, and flung the orb down the hall. As the creature turned, Donavan lunged. They fought blindly, struggling in the dim green light. The creature was strong, too strong, but clumsy, not used to human weight, not yet. Donavan managed to strike it across the temple. It stumbled. Sierra grabbed his arm. "Run!" They bolted up the staircase, lungs burning. Behind them, the creature howled, a sound like metal grinding against bone. They didn't stop until they were through the false wall, and Sierra slammed the orb into the panel, sealing it shut. Then silence. Donavan dropped to his knees, gasping. Sierra collapsed beside him. They looked at each other and realized there was no more waiting, no more watching. The offering wasn't coming. It was already here.